At this month's meeting, City Council approved a 177-acre development, adopted a planning document 10 years in the making, got into a live debate about a road that basically runs through someone's front yard, and postponed a downtown sewer ordinance that had some small businesses pretty nervous. 2 hours, a lot happened. I'm Crystal DeBacker with eXp Realty. I cover every city council, planning and zoning, and EDC and CDC board meetings so I can be a true value add to my community. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I would love to be a resource for you. So let's get started. City Council started with some quick housekeeping. The consent agenda passed 6-0 without any poll items, and the Texoma Area Fiber Arts Guild presented the city with a handmade fiber art collage of the American flag to mark the country's 250th anniversary, and you can see this hanging up in City Hall now. Now, the first real agenda item was the adoption of the Comprehensive Plan 2035. This has been in the works since 2023, fully funded by a grant from the Texas General Land Office, so no taxpayer cost, and it's basically the city's first planning roadmap since 2003. That's more than 20 years. 3 town halls, over 1,100 survey responses, and hundreds of pages later, Planning and Zoning unanimously recommended it, and the City Council voted 6-0 to adopt it. So what does this actually do? It lays out a vision for land use, transportation, economic development, community facilities, all of it, through 2035. The city attorney was clear on something that came up. This is not a zoning document. The roads that are on this, the zoning that's suggested, this is just a guide. Approving the comprehensive plan does not legally bind the city to any specific zoning decision. It's a guide, not a mandate. But it matters because now when a developer comes in, the city has a documented, community-driven framework to point to. That's a big deal in a city growing as fast as Van Alstyne. Now the main event. The council voted 6-0 on 3 separate motions to approve the annexation, zoning, and development agreement for a new subdivision called Solara. Here's the basic picture. 177 acres on the north side of FM 121, east of Hackberry, and right next to Thompson Farms. Now let's go over this plan for Solara. 453 single-family lots that range from 50 foot to 70 foot wide. At least 124 of those have to be 70-foot lots. That was a firm condition from planning and zoning. Homes are required to be 80% masonry, which means brick or stone, which is higher than the city's current requirement of 60%. Cedar board-on-board fencing, ornamental metal fencing along open spaces, and 2 trees per lot minimum. They put real standards into this thing. In regards to the amenities, there's going to be an 8.7-acre public park dedicated to the city on the south end of the property near FM 121, a private amenity center with a pool and an amphitheater that has to be built by the 201st home permit, not someday, on a schedule, and 10,000 feet of concrete trails that will connect into the Thompson Farms trail system that currently exists. Now the infrastructure is where this gets really interesting. Solara is doing a water line loop from Thompson Farms all the way from the city water tower. The city engineer confirmed that closes a redundancy gap in the water system, and that's a benefit to people already living in the area, not just for future Solara residents. There's also sewer work along FM 121 and a lift station upgrade that sets up future development to the west as well. This is what I've always said is once these major developments start bleeding out from the city east and west, it's going to be open season because they're bringing the infrastructure. Okay, now about the roads. The main entrance will be a divided concrete boulevard from FM 121 built in phase 1. Hackberry Road, which runs along the western edge of this property, will at minimum be resurfaced and restriped. But there is some possibility that they work with the county to get them to participate in a tax increment district and Hackberry gets fully rebuilt in concrete. If I'm being honest, I doubt it, but the city manager said they met with Grayson County Judge Dawsey the day before the meeting, and the judge verbally indicated he was open to it. Nothing's locked in yet, but the conversation's one to watch. Now the financing structure. So Solara includes a PID, which is a public improvement district, with up to $45 million in bond issuance over 30 years, and a tax increment reinvestment zone set at a roughly 25.7% effective contribution rate. The city negotiated that down from the developer's opening ask of 55%. Over the life of the deal, the city retains about $49.8 million in tax increment. The argument staff made, and it's a fair one, is that voluntary annexation gives the city leverage to require all of these standards. Without it, someone could build out here with far less city oversight, and the city gets nothing. No tax dollars, no masonry requirements, no city parks. They get nothing. A developer could come in and do the county guidelines of 40-foot lots. So Voluntary annexation is a huge win for the city all the way around. Now, one resident who lives at Hackberry and Willow Lane raised traffic concerns during the public hearing. His point was that the traffic study assumed most residents would drive south and east, but if a significant number actually head north towards Sherman, the assumptions break down, and Hackberry is not built for that. No shoulders, no lights. The school buses use it every day. The council acknowledged the concern and pushed the developer on lighting. It didn't fully resolve Tuesday night, but it's on the record, and this is a county road, so it's really something that the county has to decide to do. What did get resolved right there in the meeting was a road design issue. A resident on Willow Lane pointed out that the current site plan had a 60-foot collector road ending approximately 30 feet from her house and appearing to dump out directly in front of her garage, essentially. City council members pushed back pretty hard on this, and the developer came up to the screen. They worked it out right there on the spot. So Willow Lane gets eliminated as a through street, the collector road gets rerouted north, and a 20-foot landscaping buffer gets added to the property line. The developer agreed to that on record, and a formal amended exhibit comes back in July. All three of these votes, the development agreement, the annexation, and the zoning, all passed 6-0. Next up was the proposed ordinance about grease trap requirements for downtown businesses. So I know a lot of businesses were stressed and wondering how this turned out, especially people considering opening their business in Van Alstyne. The city's wastewater staff came with a proposal to require larger grease interceptors, the equipment that keeps cooking grease out of the sewer lines, with a focus on the historic downtown area. And the problem is real. 5 of the 6 blockage photos in the presentation were from downtown Van Alstyne, but council pumped the brakes on that. The concern was fairness to small businesses that have already invested in systems they believed were compliant, because they were at the time, and the question of how you even enforce this on buildings that don't have easy access for underground equipment. Councilwoman Arsenal made the point that the city has spent real effort getting small businesses to open downtown, and an ordinance like this, as written, could land as a serious and potentially unnecessary financial roadblock. The council voted unanimously to postpone this. Staff will come back with research on what comparable historic downtowns are requiring, variance language for lower volume operations, and clearer enforcement guidance. The council also corrected a technical error in the commercial impact fee table that was adopted back in April. The calculation had missed something called a pass-by trip discount, basically standard traffic engineering practice that reduces fees for businesses where customers were already passing by, not making a dedicated trip. Think a gas station or a coffee shop along a busy road. The corrected table passed 5-1. The one no vote wasn't a disagreement with the correction. It was frustration that the council had voted on wrong numbers in the first place, which is understandable. The city attorney confirmed the original fee is still legally defensible, so no undoing that vote, but the table is now accurate going forward. And then 2 more quick items. The council approved resolutions setting public hearings for July 14th, one for the Solara tax increment reinvestment zone, and one for the Solara public improvement district. Those are the formal steps in the financing process. They also approved a development agreement with Creekline Partners, the developer behind Rolling Ridge on Highway 5, for up to a $950,000 in reimbursement for off-site water line improvements. The work runs through school district property, so there's a narrow window to get this project done before school starts. The agreement passed 6-0. All right, the city manager's report, one of my favorite summaries of what's going on in town from essentially the CEO of the city himself. City Manager Lane Jones kept his report short this time. Downtown construction update, Marshall Street paving is done, taller streetlights are installed, seating areas have been drilled, and the decorative fencing is being fabricated now. The holdup is getting Encore and Frontier to sort out a utility conflict so the power poles can come down. The target is to get the streets repainted and reopened by mid-July. The new public safety facility is on budget and still on track to be complete in October, with an official grand opening around January. He also gave a public shout out to city staffers Alex and Tristan after watching them work through everything on that agenda. That's the June meeting. So between Solara, the comprehensive plan, downtown construction wrapping up, the city's in the middle of a lot of moving parts all at once. If you're curious what any of this means for you, your neighborhood, your home value, or whether you should start paying closer attention, it's exactly what I'm here for. Crystal DeBacker with eXp Realty. If you found this useful, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on any social media where it's very easy to reach out with any of your questions.